The day is to break down and the night is to build up. So that is the problem when you're skipping meals. You're not getting the equipment that you need to get ready for the night.
Hi, Steph, and thank you so much for being in my channel. And before you introduce yourself, I want to say that it means the world to me, you being here.
Oh, that's cool.
8 years ago, when I found you, I got a few coachings with you, and that helped me sort the bullshit. And it saved me time and mistakes. And I went to keto adaptation. And I've never stopped listening to your channel. I think, I don't know how it is you don't have 1 or 2 million subscription, because there is so much information for free, people.
I know but people want shortcuts, and I make things look too hard. So first they pass me up, and then when things get too bad, then they come back like a year or two later.
They come
And
back.
it always happens like this. Always. Like, people come and go. But my content will grow slowly with keeping the truth.
That's what I love about it. And beyond the informations, beyond that, you've always been my guidance. Like, every time I was doubting myself, or I didn't know what to do, I would go to your channel, listen to you, and then boom, in a few time I would be back on track, and I knew, okay, that's where I want to go. That's that level of health I want to achieve. And I wouldn't be there if it wasn't for you.
Oh, I thank you.
Thank you. I will stop jabbing my jaws and let you tell my people who you are and what you do.
Okay. Wow, I'm a dinosaur. That's who I am. I've been around for a long time, promoting low-carb ketogenic diets. Obviously, if anybody who has been following me knows that I started with my mother having cancer, and I used a ketogenic diet as a anti-cancer strategy, which works really well. She had stage 4 brain cancer, glioblastoma. And from there, I used to personal train people, and I started to implement ketogenic protocols on my clients. That went amazing. I did that for 2 years. Then after that, I wanted to talk about it on the internet, and that's when my channel really started growing on the subject of keto. So that's how I got into this, right? That's how it all started. And then, of
you were the
course,
only one. At the beginning, there was nothing.
there was Livin' La Vida, Jimmy Moore, who's in jail right now. Yeah, he's in jail for doing some like kiddie stuff he shouldn't have done. But he was around and lasted a long time until he got put in jail. And I think Maria Emmerich, but she is a hot mess. Yeah. Unfortunately, she's got an eating disorder. So, but other than that, it's just been me the whole time.
Yes, with true information. That I think I've got. I bought Jimmy Moore's book, but I didn't learn anything. So I like him.
No.
I mean, he's a nice guy. And you were in his book. I've seen your picture and some quotes from you in the book. But apart from that, I didn't learn anything.
No, I think back then people didn't know. You know, I think that I have been somebody to really learn what works and what doesn't work. And that takes, I mean, I've coached so many people, so you really learn like what works and what doesn't work. And there's a lot of things that don't work. And then the things that work take a lot of discipline.
That's the conversation I'd like to have with you today, about what is not working with fasting.
Exactly.
Because
there's a lot.
When you get into these diets, you're told you should be fasting if you want to lose weight, either doing a carnivore diet or ketogenic or low carb. They tell you should fast, and even doctors in books promote that. And you've been pushing against that for so much years. And now I've seen lately doctors changing their minds and you analyzing their videos. I love that videos with Dr. Rhonda Patrick. But for those who didn't see that, could you explain why fasting is not the way to lose weight?
Absolutely. So I'm 56 and I was born in 1967 and I've seen a lot of diets over the years. And you can see that none of them work. So there's the cabbage soup diet and a chili pepper diet and the South Beach diet, all these diets. HCG became popular like 6, 7 years ago. And people are so desperate to lose weight. So when I started hearing about intermittent fasting, and it was Dr. Jason Fung pushing this garbage, I mean, that was it. He was telling people what they wanted to hear. You can balance your insulin, you can balance your blood sugar, you're going to lose weight. And immediately I knew that this was garbage because when you don't eat, see, food, it's not to entertain us. Believe it or not, food is to give us energy and it's medicine to fix the temple. Or if the body is a car, it's tools to fix the car. That's it. So when people started not eating these large windows, I knew that it was coming off of the world of desperation to lose weight. And when you're desperate, you never lose the weight that you need. You lose muscle, you lose hormones, but you don't actually lose fat weight and keep the muscle when you're desperate. And his idea of this intermittent fasting where you can go 16, 18, 24-hour fasting for weeks, and then it went and switched to eating one meal a day. And I was like, wow. And I started preaching in my videos, don't do that. You're going to destroy your adrenals. Food is medicine. And when you're not eating it, you're not giving the body what it needs. And I've never met anybody who has fasted and has become younger, fitter, stronger, healthier, leaner. When you desperately try to gain one thing, you will always lose another. It's always a trade. Take this, you sell your soul to the devil, you lose that. And the fasting craze, the obsession started. People start doing these long fasts, and exactly what I knew would happen was happening. When it comes to ketosis, people are not getting in ketosis because in the beginning you have to eat a lot of fat. So people keep thinking, well, if I'm fasting, you can see ketones spike on a glucometer. And I'm like, yeah, of course. You can make ketones from not eating anything for 5 hours, but you won't use them. They'll go right out into your urine. And in the beginning, people thought I was crazy. But now they're starting to realize that it's not just a ketone thing you have to consider. It's a blood sugar thing. And there's your HbA1c. It's a measurement of your blood sugar over a couple of months. Then there's insulin. And when you really start to go down the rabbit's hole and test people, you see that their blood sugar becomes unstable. And then they start to gain weight fasting because now they're becoming insulin resistant. And how can you not eat food for long windows and become like insulin resistant? And it's because your body needs energy. When you're not eating, you're not giving it energy. So the body will eat itself to create energy. So this is the gluconeogenesis. This is Rhonda Patrick, the doctor, talking about protein breakdown when you are skipping a meal. So basically your body will start to eat proteins from the skin, the collagen, bone marrow, under your neck, all weird places from stress, the stress of not eating. Your body will eat itself to keep blood sugar stable. And that is irrefutable, which means you can't argue that. It's a fact. Then when you start using a glucometer, you see it. First, the first couple weeks, people are like, oh, my blood sugar, oh, it's stable now. But then as you continue this fasting, there's a thing called physiological insulin resistance rebounding, which means now the blood sugar is jumping around when it didn't do that before. And you can see people start to gain weight, or they'll lose muscle fasting, right? Because the body's eating itself. It's not going to eat the fat. Fat is your emergency gas tank. It's going to eat the muscle, because muscle makes you starve faster. Muscle is so metabolically active, it burns at rest, right? But your body doesn't care that you want to look good. The body only cares about surviving. So it will burn the muscle and hold on to the fat. But people will lose weight on a scale. They're like, oh my God, I lost 60 pounds. Oh my God, I lost 30 kilos. You know, they'll lose the weight and
the skin is sagging.
And the skin is sagging. They age. And I mean, they all do. And over the years, I've coached so many people who fasted, and they all have problems because you gain one thing, but you lose another. And that's not optimal health, to start to jack up your adrenals, to have your body go down the cortisol pathway, to mess your sex hormones or your thyroid hormones, and then to physically age. It's not worth it, because you weigh a little bit less on a scale.
Yeah, and your hormones are also what is keeping you like young and also fit. So it's
That is
going
right.
against you. But what you said about insulin resistance, I've heard people say, okay, but now you are in ketosis, so your body's gonna take the ketones and let the blood sugar, and then it's why your blood sugar is high. And I don't buy that, because
Of course not. That's not logical. Your body can either burn sugar or it can burn ketones. It can't do both. It does not do both very efficiently. You will have problems on both sides. You will have problems with your blood sugar, and you will have problems with ketones. You have to have moderate to low blood sugar and medium ketones, like moderate to high ketones, and you have to have energy. And that takes time to teach your body to do that. So if you're fasting, or if you are stressed out, or if you're eating too much protein, or if your fat is too low, just because you haven't eaten for 5 hours, you see ketones, but then the blood sugar might be too low, or the blood sugar might be too high. And if the blood sugar is too high, why would your body use ketones? It's not going to use the ketones. It's going to use the sugar in your blood.
Because it's dangerous that it is high.
That's correct. Yes.
But then can you explain why? I mean, I've heard people say that also fasting, you can reverse insulin resistance. But if the blood sugar is dysregulated, how can you reverse insulin resistance?
Exactly. You cannot reverse insulin resistance not eating for hours, because what ends up happening is what I have explained about the adrenals. The adrenals think you're starving. The primal body thinks that there's something wrong. So it puts your body into the fight or flight state, because your brain always needs either ketones or glucose as energy. So if you're not eating and you're running around, the body must crank out and push out cortisol. And that's what ages people. So, in the beginning, people feel that their insulin is dropping. These people who are insulin resistant and their blood sugar is like diabetic high. Yes, in the beginning, they see a drop in their insulin and a drop in their glucose. Some, not all, some. Then over time, their blood sugar starts to go super high again. And they're confused because they haven't eaten any carbs or any sugars. Why is my blood sugar high? Because your adrenals Your adrenals are taking over and making sugar out of your own muscle.
Yes, and I think the stress, I mean, for me, when I tried a long time ago, I tried fasting because I wanted to lose weight as well. And I could do it once. And then when I would do it again, my brain would know. And then I would eat more before and I would eat more after. And it was worse. Like the after that, I would do it. I would say, I should maybe fast longer because I've eaten before, and it was worse. And I was like, okay, no, 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 no. I have to.
Crazy. And we're always like, oh, this isn't doing enough. So let's fast more and more. Yeah,
I would be obsessed by food then. I would be
absolutely.
thinking about it nonstop.
Nonstop. And people begin to make eating disorders with fasting or one meal a day. Then they start to overeat. When they do eat protein, they can't stop eating, but they feel good because they didn't eat all day. But then for dinner, they're having so much protein. And because it's no carbs, they think it's healthy, but
So they
it's
think
not.
they cannot store it, then it's fine.
But you do, because that protein becomes like candy. It starts to convert into sugar, as we call it, like a candy bar.
But I think some people realize that it's stressful to the body.
Yeah,
And so I've seen people advising those fat fast, to bypass the thing. Like you're supposed to go 36 hours eating just liquid fat bombs, and it's supposed to reverse your insulin and make you lose weight. And I don't buy that either, but I don't really know how to explain why that's not working.
the stomach needs fat and protein, not just the fat.
Mm-hmm.
It needs fat and protein to stabilize blood sugar. So when people think they're going to stabilize their blood sugar by eating pure fat, like butter or beef tallow or pork fat, they find themselves again with their blood sugar acting really weird, because you need these protease, protein digestive enzymes to help break down protein, caloric acids in the stomach, and everything should move very slowly through the digestive tract. So just eating fat does not work. You absolutely need the protein to help with the delivering of the ketones, the making of the ketones, the breaking down evenly the fat, because you still need the stomach acid. And what motivates stomach acid is protein.
Yes.
So you can't just do a fat fast. And then there's the problem with if people doing carnivore or doing no vegetables at all. And I've done a lot of videos on how you need fiber to stabilize the bacteria in the large intestine. Now, because there's so many carnivore gurus and doctors, this puppy, I swear.
I see. But if you want to take a break for him, it's okay with me.
No, there's no break. Now, when you have a puppy, it's either chew or play, right? And if I play with him, he'll want to play even more. So it's better that he chews than plays.
But
But
I think like doing a fat fast, it's a different form of restriction. It looks
yes,
like you're eating, but I've tried it, and I think my brain behaves the same with the fat, like with the fasting. At the end of the day, I just want to chew on something, and I
absolutely.
open my fridge door and I like, give me something to eat.
Yes. The fat fast, I don't know what idiot is promoting this, but that idea came around maybe 6, 7 years ago when I heard about a fat fast. So I was like, stop trying to shortcut your health. There's no shortcut.
No.
You must take the long way, 1 foot at a time. You cannot make things go faster or easier by trying to do things like, well, at least I'm not fasting and I'm eating fat. Yeah, that is true. But there's also the problem that 95% of everyone I coach has problems with their gallbladder.
Yes.
So how are you going to do fat fast? You're sitting there having diarrhea. No.
And I think also absorption of protein is not that easy. We are not always absorbing them well because some people eat very late at night and they're not absorbing, or some of
Or
them
some
don't.
people have leaky gut and they're not absorbing. They'll have a gallbladder problem, or they'll have leaky gut, or their digestion is poor. They don't very well. Their bodies just don't. Something's wrong. There's always like one or two things wrong. Either it's your thyroid, or you have leaky gut, or you have SIBO, or you have menstrual issues, or you've got headaches, or you can't sleep, or you can't lose weight, or you're tired all the time. But it is literally something wrong. So stop trying to make a shortcut, as we say in English.
I found out fasting during the night is enough. When you wake up, you're hungry. It was enough.
It's enough. In fact, like what Rhonda Patrick was saying, and what I've said for years, is that when you sleep, you don't eat. So this is so your body can just focus on repairing. That's it. That's what you're supposed to do while you sleep. But while you are awake, food gives the body energy, and food gives the body vitamins and minerals that it needs to balance itself. When the day is stress on the body, then the day is to break down and the night is to build up. So that is the problem when you're skipping meals in the daytime. You're not getting the equipment that you need to get ready for the night. Literally, like you need to balance your sodium and your potassium. And so also meat has potassium. Certain vegetables have potassium. Avocados have potassium. So when you're not getting those electrolytes in, then the adrenals start to have problems. You know, it's a stress on the body.
Because people want to lose weight, their mind thinks it has to restrict like calories or fat or everything. And then when they come to you and they hear you say they should eat 200 grams of fat, for example, they don't get it because it's they're not wired to that idea. And could you explain why this is important that fats are high, especially at the beginning?
Yes. Well, we need fat, we need cholesterol. When it comes to being ketogenic, you need to eat fat to then train the body to convert that fat that you ate into ketones. So it can go into the energy cycle, which is called the Krebs cycle, and it can also go into every cell of the body, including your brain. Then the brain actually is made mostly of fat. So it needs these fat-soluble vitamins and cholesterol to function properly. Your reproductive hormones are made out of cholesterol. That's coming from animal fat. So people just they have this fear that if they eat fat, they're going to get fat. And I'm like, that's not how the body works. What makes you fat is broken hormones. So you need insulin when your blood sugar is high, because insulin is going to take that sugar out of your blood and put it into the cells to either be stored for later energy, or the insulin is going to help push amino acids into the muscles so they can grow. But the sugar itself must be used as some type of energy. If blood sugar stays around in your blood for too long, it begins to damage the cells. So we need insulin to get it out within 2 hours. We have a 2-hour window to have insulin release, but you don't want a bunch of insulin to get out the sugar. You need a little bit that does a big job. That's called insulin sensitivity. When you eat fat, you don't need insulin. You don't need all this insulin because fat is not damaging. It's not caustic. It does not damage the cells like sugar damages. And fat can be used for so many things. It can be used for your skin, your brain, the reproductive system, your lungs, the lining of your lungs, the lining of every cell. So we need fat, and we need it for the vitamins. It's got fat soluble vitamins in it. And so when people don't eat the fat and they just eat the protein, they're not getting all of this amazing equipment or the vitamins and minerals to have the body heal. If you can keep your stress down, right? Because stress creates sugar in the body, like I'm trying to right now with this puppy on my lap, going crazy with this gross thing, this tendon. This is a tendon, by the way. But when you're able to keep your stress down, then you don't need all that insulin to, because if your blood sugar is running high, this is the fear that people have to get fat on fat. You only get fat eating fat when your insulin is over secreting, it's pumping out too much. And insulin will take the sugar and the fat in your blood and store it as fat. But that's not because of the fat you ate. Yes. That's because of the sugar in your blood from stress. So these are a lot of people have a lot of misunderstanding on how the body works with insulin, how the body works with the thyroid hormones or your reproductive hormones or stress hormones. It doesn't understand it.
Yes, and I think also they are told, I mean, in French books anyway, I don't know about other ones, but they are told if they quit eating carbs, they are logically gonna have ketones. And they say, okay, but I'm fat. I have the material, so I'm gonna take my fat and have it as dinner. And it's not happening.
You also have to understand that if you are insulin resistant and you're overweight, and your blood sugar is running high, and you cut out your carbs again, at first, the blood sugar will calm down. Yeah. But then after a while, the adrenals start to over-freak out. Your body, it doesn't want to rely on adrenals. The adrenals are your emergency energy source. So it should only be used in an emergency. But if your fats are too low, you're not going to be in ketosis. And your body's not going to take the stored fat that you have and start turning it into ketones. It's not. It's not, because you are metabolically damaged. Your metabolism's damaged. It might do that to an athlete. It's not going to do that to somebody who's got blood sugar problems. Just because you cut out your carbs does not fix the blood sugar problems. If you're not in ketosis, the adrenals will begin to overfire. And that's when people start to notice a massive spike in their blood sugar on no carbs instead of a blood sugar drop. Their ketones are crap. They're not burning body fat. The fat on the body becomes lazy. The body would much rather burn muscle than the body fat, even though you've got tons of stored fat as energy. The body will never burn fat if it feels that it's stress. It just won't. It'll just stay in storing mode, not burning mode.
And I think people realize it. I mean, at the beginning, they would say, "Oh, she's talking bullshit. You don't have to check your blood sugar." And now I think people are beginning to understand why they are stuck.
Yeah, well, what people will say, they don't say that the blood sugar thing is bullshit anymore, because when I say to them that if you eat protein, too much protein, it's like eating candy. And then when they're like, that's not true, and I go, well, go use a glucometer and it will tell you. So, and that pretty much shuts them up. What people still like to argue is that you don't need fiber for anything.
Yes.
And what people like to argue is that fasting, may help them lose weight. Those are the two stupid, dumb things that people are too attached to. They're too stuck to this idea. It would be so great.
Okay, no, what you're saying is old science. It's not like that anymore. You don't need fiber. But when I don't eat fiber, I don't digest very well. I get sick. My gut is not really strong anymore.
No, I mean, people don't understand when I say that you should eat fiber. It's not a lot.
No.
It's just enough to help stabilize, because fiber helps the production of diamine oxidase. Facts. And people will be like, you're wrong. And I'm like, well, what is DAO? They don't know what DAO is, but they're saying I'm wrong. So they don't learn enough about physiology. They just heard a doctor say, you don't need fiber. And then they just parrot this, they just
But,
mimic and you
but
don't
they
need
have
fiber.
histamine intolerance at the same time.
Exactly. Exactly.
Because you've coached so many people, what would you say is the worst thing they do that stands in the way of their
Too
future?
much protein, not enough fat.
Right. Yes.
And
Simple.
skipping meals. So too much protein, not enough fat, and fasting. Those are the three things. The people are hungry because they're not eating, they're fasting, so they're hungry and they don't eat enough fat. So fat, you need so much equipment to digest fat. You need lipase. You also need the stomach acid. You need the gallbladder to function properly. And so when you're eating really fatty meats, your body needs so much equipment to break it. And it takes time. So as your body is digesting, you're not hungry.
Yes.
But when you eat protein, you feel like there's a brick in your stomach, like a big rock, until you don't. And then people get hungry. Their brain is going, I need either sugar or I need ketones. This protein is not doing it for me. And then people develop binging problems at night from starting to eat too much protein.
I've heard a lot of people, a lot of women said to me, yes, but when I restrict the protein and up the fat, then my hair is falling out. I'm not sure how much protein they really eat when they say I restrict protein, but I think it's not really logical that your hair is falling out if you're not
If your hair is
fasting.
falling out, you're not in ketosis.
Yeah.
So if your hair is falling out, your body is trying to turn off everything that needs energy. Hair growth needs energy. Having a baby needs energy. Burning fat, you need energy. And when your hair starts falling out, that's your thyroid turning off the hair making because it just takes too much energy. And if you're not in ketosis or you don't have your glycogen filled with when your muscle stored with sugar, glycogen, then the body's like, okay, well, we don't have fat and we don't have carbs as our energy. We just have all this protein. So let's try to stop everything that's taking a lot of energy. And one of those things is hair growth. So if they say that they lower their protein and the hair starts falling out, these are people who may not be eating that much or fasting 100%. It's the thyroid. That's why your hair starts falling out. I mean, the other reasons why people's hair falls out is because of maybe plaque psoriasis, or an iron deficiency. But most people are not having problems with iron. They're having a problem with their thyroid hormones
Yeah. Yes.
from not giving the body what it needs.
And I know the people who will watch this interview want to lose weight. They would want to do it the right way, I think. So, what would you say they should focus on?
To lose weight,
Yes.
getting their stress down, going to bed really early, because that's when you lose weight, is when you sleep, especially their first half of sleep.
Mm.
Getting their macros correct and make sure that you're not eating any foods that are giving you histamine, because histamine can spike your blood sugar. I would eat my food. I would tell people to eat their food very slowly so they can digest properly, and to eat something small as snacks, not to feed your body, but to keep the blood sugar stable.
Mm.
If the blood sugar is stable, then so is the fat burning. If the thyroid is stable because it's getting the right food, it's getting low stress, then the thyroid hormones can still be made properly and used. So it takes a lot of work. I say to people that if you want to get healthy or if you want to lose weight, it's like training for the Olympics. And you cannot take any shortcut. You can't, make it easy. You have to take one step at a time and do every step to get to where you need to go and be patient.
I think a lot of people are willing to take really strong steps towards the food. But when it comes to, like you said, sleep or stress, They don't really want to. And you said that to me when I was with you in coaching. You said I had to work on my stress. And at the beginning, I wasn't able to recognize stress in my life. I would think, okay, stress is when you're stuck in traffic. And I wouldn't realize my mind, my thoughts were the first stressors, like the way I was thinking was stressful.
Stress can be your mind. Stress can be sitting too long.
Yeah.
Stress can be working out too late. Stress cannot be breathing properly or getting enough vitamin D. Stress can be many different things.
Yes, and like you said, I think you have to work on that. You have to deep down go and think about it. Where is it? What can I change? And that's where the magic happens. For me, that's when it worked really. I would
Exactly.
have at the beginning, I would have working with you. I had good blood measurements, but my life was not
Was
aligned with the
mm-hmm.
lifestyle. I had to work on that. And so that's my last question for you, because I've heard you said that some people cannot really change their thoughts, and that's what preventing them from succeeding. So what do you mean by that exactly? What are the thoughts?
I think that people today want to live in a bubble. They want everything to be easy and they want everything to be safe. But we are designed for stress. Technically, we're supposed to be able to handle stress very, very well. But because we work so hard to make our life so safe, it becomes boring. And people don't have desire for living, like you taste the blood in your mouth, life, right? Living on the edge of life, but with an open mind or open heart. So for example, I used to live in Los Angeles.
Yes.
And things got too easy. Became too easy. So I got a horse. And then that became a challenge, right? I'm outside. I have a horse for the first time. He's a rescue. He's crazy. He's bucking people off. He's dangerous. And so every moment that I'm around this big horse, in the beginning, you have your heart beating because, you don't know what to do. But the challenge of life is to accept this as a positive stress, and you grow new neurons in the brain, new things that expand your mind. But then the whole world went bonkers and crazy and stupid. And I was like, oh, hell no, we're not doing this garbage. Nobody's going to tell me what to do. And nobody's going to implant stupid thoughts into my head. Hell no. So I left and I went to Texas and I hated Texas. So then I ended up and I bought a place in Tennessee. I bought 10 acres, which is quite big, with nothing on it. No water, no power, no house, no nothing. And then I've got these big animals. And it was hard. Everything was hard in the very beginning. But you become your hormones and the way that you think become like you're alive because you have not made your life safe. You have purpose. You have gratitude, as we say in English, to feel grateful because you have nothing. So then you realize that when you do something in life, you attack it like a lion. You have hunger to make your life better because it's been so hard. But when life is so easy, you have no purpose. Then you begin to pick at how you look and you're like, oh, I'm too fat. Oh, you have bad relationships. So you create drama when you're too bored, when there's nothing to inspire you, to strive, as we say, to live, to fight, to live. When you fight to live, but you accept it in a positive way, not like, oh, poor me, it's so hard. It's so hard. I mean, like, okay, this sucks, but let's go. Let's get it. Let's
I think
do this.
we all had an opportunity like 2 years ago. We all had that opportunity to show ourselves how strong we are, what we want to do. And if people won't take it, I mean, that's when I started revealing myself to me, like, oh, I'm that strong, and I'm happy that I had that opportunity.
Exactly. It's like separating the weak between the strong. That's what happened a couple years ago. There's the weak, here's the strong. And the strong will make it, and the weak won't. They won't. They will listen to people, put things in their head, and they will believe in anything, and they will fall for everything. And the ones who question life, those are the ones that make it.
Mm. And that's why I think it was a good thing what happened, in a way, like.
In a way,
Mm.
it woke the people who, like myself, were creating small challenges. It forced me to make bigger challenges, and then that makes you a stronger person because they are coming for us. They are coming with everything that they can.
Mm. Yes, but that helped people realize and prepare themselves. Like, I really love what you're doing, like the way you are building
Thank
your
you.
house, and having that freedom of, okay, you're living in what I would call discomfort, like in an RV, like, is it, and it's gonna be cold in the winter, it's gonna be,
Yeah, it's like plastic.
but
The
it
RV
is.
camper is made with cheap material. So right now, the air is okay, but the floor is ice block. So yeah, it's a challenge,
Mm-mm.
you know. So when I wake up in the morning and I only have like one little heater going and you can see your breath on the inside. Yeah, yeah. It makes you feel alive. Trust me. You wake up and you're like, you put one little finger outside of the covers. You're like, oh, I don't want to get up. It's so cold. And I don't mean cold. I mean see your breath cold.
I've also seen you in the summer being so hot that you had
Oh God.
electrolytes imbalance.
Yeah, in Texas, it was really bad. It was hot for months and like no relief at all, just hot every damn day. I hated that place. Tennessee has 3 weeks only. Instead of 5 months of death, it has 3 weeks of death. And that's where it is. I was doing like mowing the lawn, I was doing things with the horses when it's very hot and very humid, and I was sweating and sweating and sweating and sweating, and your body can't cool off. Yeah, it's the opposite. It sucks, trust me.
Uh,
But
one of the most important things that you've taught me when I was in coaching with you, I remember saying to you, but Steph, do you think I'm gonna lose weight one day? And you looked at me and you said, girl, you've got to stop whining. I still remember it because I stopped. And
really,
you said, you know what? Try it for 2 weeks. 2 weeks and you're not whining. You're not complaining. And you try good things to appreciate. And I did it. And it worked. And not only it worked, but I thought, I cannot go back
yeah.
to my old self because I was able to do it. There's no reason why I should go back. And beyond the food, that was really, really good
Well,
teaching.
what's good about you is that we did work together a few times, and the years are passing. And I will have other people from France talk about you and your journey and be inspired by you as well. Yeah. So it's very cool. It's
Thank
like
you.
passing it on, like you pass it on, I pass it on.
Yes. So I
Yeah.
really, I really hope people will go and find out about your channel because you speak like it's easy to understand. And what I think is Steph is not only a coach, she's a healer. Like she's talking to you and she's gonna nail what you've got and help you through it. So if you have any kind of like problem with, go to her, book a consultation. It's the best thing you can do for your health.
Aw.
You won't regret any penny of it. Celine also did it with you.
Yeah,
A
yeah,
friend of
yeah.
mine.
She did.
And
She did.
we are always talking about you, like you're the guidance.
Aw, I appreciate it. You know, you don't know who you are, how much you are impacting somebody else's life. And sometimes it's lonely out here. You know, I left because I was worried about the world. So to move to a small town where you don't know anyone, and then you're just in your own little head, you don't realize that you're helping impact people. So it's really good for me too to hear, you know, whatever I've done is helping. It's a good thing. It's good
we,
synergistic.
we are a lot more than you think. It's just that French people are not really good English speakers, but we are a group and we are 100% behind you.
No, I really appreciate it. I mean, there was many times I think we talked about me coming over to Paris and or to France, and but yeah, it's hopefully things will stabilize a little bit in this world so I can make it back over there. It's been a long time since I've been to France.
But anyways, thank you so much for your time. I adored this interview, and I
Oh, thank
really
you.
hope that the information will inspire people as much as it that inspired me. So thank you, Steph.
Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Sucrier, vous êtes bien trop brutal. Sucrier, vous êtes bien trop brutal. Sucrier, vous êtes bien